Hey guys, I'm George Gonzalez and I'm obsessed with making games. And today we're going to talk about display names. I am going to save you time, effort, money, everything. If you already launched your game, I'm sorry. It'll be a good learning opportunity. But let me know what you think about this in the comments below. If you publish your game, I want to know, have you had troubles with this? Because I've seen it and I want to give you tips. And at the end, I'm going to show you how I do the display name setting with PlayFab. But you can do this with any service, backend service. And the main thing is some things to watch out for. I do it for Meta and for Steam. And we're going to go over everything at the end. But first, I want to talk about why make this decision that I'm going to tell you and why it saves you money. Because you might think it's irrelevant and you might think it's a popular thing to do because players are asking you for it. And that is the ability to change your display name. A lot of players love it because they want to identify themselves, they want to be able to change it. But the problem is that there's a lot of cost associated with display name. And it's something so simple that can just give you a headache. So let me explain. A lot of players log into a game and they want to be able to choose their character's name. If this is a single player game, for the most part, it's fine. And you might have seen it in AAA games, right? The problem is that there's a lot more to it than you think. The first thing is that you're gonna have to filter it, especially if it's multiplayer games, is filter profanity, and that is almost impossible because even AAA games fail to do that to the most, and they have ways of doing it, but people get around it no matter what. There's always, and then there's different languages, and it's just an impossible task. So my advice is to don't let them pick the display name unless you want to start trying to figure that out and how to filter that. The second thing is that it helps you, it just saves you time. You don't have to ever worry about display names because the platform that you're developing for will figure that out for you. That's why I love building for Meta, Steam, Android, Apple, because I have the ability to get their display name, their username. And those platforms will do the job of filtering profanity and whatnot. And so you are basically utilizing their services. And whatever display name they chose on their Meta profile is whatever, or in Steam, is whatever they like. So if they want to change their names, they can change it there. And we'll go over in the code so that you can also change your display name if they changed it in their platform, because that tends to happen too. When you are trying to ban hackers and they can change their display name, it's hard for people to report the hackers because they'll have a different display name as they come up. So if you use their username from the platform, then every time they make an alt account, they'll have the alt display name. So they have to go through the trouble of changing their display name in the console or in the game. And if you don't allow them to do that from the client, that also helps you on the back end. So they don't hack your game and change their name to whatever they want. So that's something that you can do to avoid hacking and the display name. Once this is a test service, but in settings on PlayFab, you have this allow non-unique player display names. For the love of everything that's holy, please do not click this checkbox. I don't think this is a smart idea. It is awful. And maybe you have a service that allows it and you have a good way to filtering, but if you allow non-unique players, that means that everyone can, you can have 100 players with the same name. And if your game is popular, it's going to run into problems all the time. Players are going to be like, oh, I'm having problems with this and with this, and can you help me? Well, what is your ID? And so then what a lot of companies do is you have a player info and you have a specific ID associated with that. And so they have to give you this long ID, which no one likes to remember, no one likes to take a screenshot of. Whereas if their name is unique and it's tied to their account, to whatever username, they already know it and no one else is going to have it. And so that's great. Also streamers, sometimes people pretend to be other people by changing their display name to the streamer's name. And so streamers usually have their stream or even content creators have their names. So when they log into the game, they don't have to type it. It's tied to their account because the account is legitimate and it's theirs. And so when they go to Meta, when they go to Steam, they have their content creator account with a name how they want it. And so if you just mirror that, then they should be fine with it. And then that way you avoid trouble of people pretending to be someone else. So that also saves you headache in that and less support tickets. The other thing that you have to be conscious about is what if I'm doing cross-platform, like Google Play and Android or Apple? So depending on where the majority of your players are coming from, you can choose that as your default. That's what I tend to do. For Meta, I just use Meta. And if I was doing Steam, I would do for display name, because it has to be unique. And I don't know, because Steam doesn't keep a list of what Meta has and you're trying to do cross platforms. You either bind the accounts before you log in and create the account if you have another account. If you can do that, PlayFab allows you to do that. You can merge the account, or if you can't merge it, but someone wants to make a new account with their Steam, you can just have Steam you can add an S or something to the name, like an underscore S from Steam, an underscore P for PlayStation, and you can do that, or a parentheses and stuff. And then in the game, if you wanted to display that so people don't have the underscore, you can take it out when you display it if there's anything after like underscore. And so you could do tricks like that to keep it unique. I know that other studios, what they do is they allow you to change the name however you want, but under the hood you still have the old name, kind of like Discord, where it says like 84755. So there's like an identifier to make sure that they know who it is. But the main thing is you have to set up a lot to do that. So again, to save time and effort, just use their display name. So I'm going to show you how I do it. So this is where I do my entitlement for my app. I set it here first. So I get the platform username from Meta specifically, right? But this is not where I set the display name on the back end, but I'm going to show you what I do to set it on PlayFab, because you're like, okay, how do I set the display name? So you have this username that you get from the user. So for Meta, if you are building in Meta and you initialize, the next thing you're doing is you're checking the user, get logged in user. And when you get that, it'll give you information about the user. Okay, and if it's not an error, you get user, the user Oculus ID, and this Oculus ID is the username. So it's kind of weird because this user ID is a number. But I don't use that anymore. This is something that I was testing and wanted to debug so you could see what was what. But this is your Oculus ID. Okay, so let's say you want to save it. You get it by doing these. You can pause and look. If you want to get this script, I'll try to copy paste it. YouTube doesn't allow me to do a lot of copy pasting if it's too much text. So I'll try to condense it for you guys and give you the specifics. But the main idea is this, and then getting the username here like this. Okay, so let's say you have the name. So how do you set it? And the way I have it, I have a specific authentication and whatnot that I showed you guys in a previous video for avoiding hacking. Okay, so PlayFab, specifically PlayFab, gives you a check to see if this game was newly created. When you have a login, you can extract the login and see if they logged in for the first time. So in here, when I log in, this is from Assure function. So in Assure function, I showed how I get that. And you can get it in the response when you come back from PlayFab. But yeah, it's not the same. But basically, the login response has if it's newly created. Okay, and in PlayFab. Okay, so once you say, okay, is this newly created? That means this is the first time they logged in. So if you want to give them bonus stuff, you can. PlayFab does that by default if you want to give people currency at the beginning. But let's say you have a display name. You have to change it. Well, you have PlayFab client API update title display name. Okay, and you set that to this display name. And again, we already did the getting the name. So you already know how to get the name. You just now set this name. Okay, and then when I'm done, I say, hey, I'm finished with this. The other check that I have here, this is check player display name. So we have a display name. And the reason why I do this check is because some people, even though you use the platform, like you can go to Steam, I believe, and Meta and change your display names. That's something that's not there forever. It's not permanent. And so you might need to check. So this is what I do. I log in. I say, okay, this is my current username. And I get the account info. And I say, okay, is the current display name the same as my Oculus display name? So that I saved earlier. And if it's not, right, so I have this Oculus display name. If it's not the same as this, if what I have saved is not the same, then let's set the display name to this. So we change it. This is what we have on our database. Does it match? If it doesn't match, if it's not the same, then we need to update it. And that's why we set the display name. Does that make sense? So this will help you because I've had this before happen where people, again, come to you with support and they're like, hey, my name is this. Can you help me? It's like, I can't find your account. And then we realize that they've changed their name and they maybe played like a year ago and they forgot that they changed their name. And so they don't remember that their name is not the same in this game. So just for continuity and just making things easier, again, don't let people change their display name. If you do, I would like charge premium currency of some kind to make sure it doesn't happen so often because it's a nightmare. Like, just don't do it. Trust me. And then filtering, all that, it's just so much cost. It's like a infinite amount of cost, and that cost will go up the more players you have. So the more successful you are, the more you'll hate this feature because it doesn't bring you money. People like it, but there's other things that you can do with your time that is not this. And that will bring more fun to your game than trying to figure out how to deal with display names because it's going to make support crazier. It's going to make the game, it's just so much to filter and deal with. It's going to make your life a lot easier in the future. So if you like this, please give a like. If you have questions, if you want this code, it's my community, Endgame Devs, where you can copy paste it. We'll see you on the next video.